Did you know that over 700 million people worldwide live on less than $1.90 a day? Today, we're exploring the 20 poorest countries in the world. Poverty isn't just about low earnings, it's a multi-dimensional issue affecting access to healthcare, education, and basic living standards. These nations are ranked primarily by their gross domestic product per capita, a reflection of average economic output that directly impacts how their populations live. As we count down these nations, consider the diverse challenges each faces. Starting our countdown at number 20, we find Haiti, a nation grappling with both natural disasters and political instability. With a GDP per capita that barely scratches the surface of sufficiency, Haitians face an uphill battle in economic recovery and development. At number 19, Nepal's stunning landscapes mask the underlying struggles of its people. Despite a rich cultural heritage, this Himalayan nation contends with high levels of poverty, exacerbated by a lack of industrial development and recent seismic activities that have devastated infrastructure. Moving to number 18, we turn our attention to Tanzania. While it boasts some of Africa's most iconic wildlife and scenic vistas, Tanzania's economic growth is hampered by agricultural dependency and a rapidly growing population, making sustainable development a challenging goal. Number 17 brings us to Afghanistan, where ongoing conflicts and political unrest severely hinder any form of stable economic growth. The Afghan people continue to endure extreme hardship, with limited access to basic necessities and services. Lastly, at number 16, we look at Burkina Faso. This West African country faces significant challenges in terms of security and health, impacting its economic stability and growth. The burden of such issues falls heavily on the shoulders of its citizens. These countries, despite their rich cultures, face significant economic hardships. Moving on to number 15, we explore the Central African Republic. Here, ongoing conflicts have severely disrupted both the economy and daily life, leaving an overwhelming majority in poverty. At number 14, Madagascar presents a different challenge. The island's severe weather patterns, including frequent droughts and cyclones, have devastated agriculture, a primary livelihood for many of its inhabitants. Number 13 brings us to Afghanistan. Decades of war and political turmoil have ravaged the nation's infrastructure and economy, making it one of the poorest countries on the globe. Next, at number 12, is Sierra Leone. Despite rich natural resources, the country struggles with corrupt governance and a lack of infrastructure impeding any potential economic progress. Finally, at number 11, we find Liberia. Here, the aftermath of civil wars coupled with high unemployment rates continues to hinder economic recovery and development. The struggle for economic stability is a common thread among these nations. Cracking the top 10, we delve into the lives and challenges of countries where economic hardships are even more pressing. At number 10, we find a nation still grappling with the aftermath of colonial exploitation and political instability that has long hindered its development. Moving to number 9, this country's story is marred by internal conflicts and poor infrastructure, making it difficult to harness its rich natural resources effectively. Number 8 presents a slightly different scenario. Here, environmental challenges combine with economic sanctions to create a perfect storm that severely restricts growth and access to international markets. Number 7 is a poignant example of how persistent drought and erratic weather patterns, exacerbated by climate change, can devastate agricultural output, which is crucial for the economy and sustenance. Finally, at number 6, we see the impact of a high dependency on a single commodity for economic survival. When global prices tumble, so does the economy, plunging millions into poverty. As we enter the top 10, the intensity of poverty deepens. Now the 5 poorest countries in the world. Starting with number 5, we find Burundi. Nestled in the heart of Africa, Burundi grapples with a GDP per capita that barely scratches $310. The nation's economy is heavily reliant on agriculture, which employs over 80% of the population. However, political instability and the effects of climate change have severely hampered growth. Burundi is also facing significant humanitarian challenges, including high rates of malnutrition and a lack of basic healthcare services. Next, at number 4, is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Despite being rich in natural resources like cobalt and copper, decades of conflict have left the country in dire straits. The average citizen lives on less than $275 per year. The ongoing conflict has displaced millions, creating one of the world's most severe humanitarian crises. International aid, while substantial, struggles to meet the overwhelming needs of the Congolese people. Moving to number 3, we encounter Mozambique. This southern African nation faces a GDP per capita of around $490. Cyclones and frequent natural disasters disrupt the lives of millions and exacerbate poverty levels. The country continues to recover from decades of civil conflict, with international aid playing a crucial role in rebuilding infrastructure and providing essential services. At number 2 stands Somalia. With a GDP per capita hovering around $300, Somalia has long been synonymous with political instability and piracy. The absence of a strong central government has made it difficult for aid to reach those in need. Furthermore, frequent droughts and famines have compounded the challenges, making international support vital for survival and development. Finally, the Central African Republic, the poorest country on our list. Here, citizens manage with a GDP per capita of under $250. The nation has been plagued by ongoing conflict which has devastated the economy and displaced hundreds of thousands of people. Humanitarian efforts are continuously thwarted by violence, with aid workers often finding themselves targeted. These countries face extreme challenges that require global attention and action. What drives such extreme poverty across these nations? To understand this, we need to delve into the common challenges they face. Many of these countries are hamstrung by rampant corruption. This isn't just about politicians lining their pockets, it reaches deep into the daily lives of citizens, distorting everything from business operations to access to basic public services. Another profound challenge is the lack of infrastructure. Imagine communities trying to thrive without reliable roads, electricity, or even clean water. This basic underdevelopment not only impedes daily life but also stifles economic growth. Businesses struggle to operate efficiently, and healthcare and education systems are stretched to their limits. Speaking of education, poor education systems present a significant barrier. Education is the bedrock of economic development and personal empowerment. However, in these regions, schools may lack resources, trained teachers, and adequate facilities. This results in a cycle of undereducation, where each generation is unprepared to break out of poverty or improve their living conditions. External debt also plays a crippling role. Many of these countries are burdened with loans taken from international lenders which they struggle to repay. This debt crisis diverts funds that could otherwise be used for development projects, locking countries into a cycle of dependency and financial instability. These factors are deeply interconnected, each exacerbating the others, creating a complex web that entraps individuals and communities in enduring poverty. Addressing these issues is crucial for real change. Knowing all this, how can we contribute to making a difference? As we reflect on the challenges faced by the world's poorest countries, it becomes clear that there are tangible ways we can help. First and foremost, supporting reputable non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, is a powerful step. These organizations work on the ground to provide essential services, advocate for policy changes, and empower local communities. By donating or volunteering, we can amplify their impact. Staying informed is equally important. In our interconnected world, understanding the complexities of global poverty helps us engage more meaningfully in conversations and advocacy. It makes us more empathetic and informed citizens of the world. Promoting and purchasing fair trade products is another practical way to help. Fair trade ensures that producers in developing countries get a fair price for their goods, which helps to improve their living conditions and sustain their communities. Every small action counts towards building a more equitable world. As we wrap up our journey through the poorest countries, let's take a moment to reflect on the profound challenges these nations face. Throughout our exploration, we've seen landscapes marked not just by natural beauty, but by the stark realities of poverty. These countries, from the arid expanses of sub-Saharan Africa to the remote villages of Southeast Asia, share common threads in their struggles against economic adversity. The stories of these nations are not merely about scarcity and need. They are about resilience, community, and the unyielding spirit of people who face daily hardships with incredible fortitude. The challenges are immense, from political instability and lack of infrastructure, to environmental crises that disproportionately affect the already vulnerable. Yet this narrative isn't set in stone. Change is possible, and it begins with awareness and understanding. By gaining a deeper insight into the lives of those in the poorest corners of the world, we can start to foster global solidarity and initiate meaningful actions. Understanding and empathy are the first steps towards change. Thank you for taking this journey with us today.